My parents are in Arizona now. My dad is going to be 75. My mom is going to be 71, and I don't see them as seniors, so I'm not sure what that means. My dad is very young, 75. They're out in Arizona enjoying the sunshine, as are we today. It's a beautiful fall day. As many of you know, this is our Orchard Hills Park, so we're quite proud of all of our parks. It's a beautiful fall day, so no better season to be here at Orchard Hills and at the West Geauga Senior Center. So thank you for inviting me. I do want to talk about Geauga Park District today. I do want to share a few facts. There have been some changes at Geauga Park District, as you've seen. We will address some of those changes, and I will field some questions. But we want to remain factual. And so I have a piece here that's been in existence for quite a while. Long glasses, but I'll do it on my readers, hopefully. So let's talk about parks in general. Let's talk about Geauga Park District and when we were established. Some of you may not know this. We were established in 1961 according to the mandates of Chapter 1545 of the Ohio Revised Code. Chapter 1545 of the Ohio Revised Code allows for county parks, metro parks, park districts to be established around the state. Cleveland Metro Parks falls under the Ohio Revised Code, Geauga Park District, a number of other park systems like ours. Why were we established? In 1959, members of the League of Women Voters had great concerns over the growing residential and industrial development in Geauga County. Using the nearby Cleveland Metro Parks as a model, the League of Members petitioned for the establishment of a park district. So they petitioned to our probate judge, and I will talk about that in a moment. In all of your counties that have park districts like ours, the probate judge appoints a board of park commissioners to establish park districts like ours. Are we a county agency? Are we governed by the Geauga County Commissioners? This is one of the facts. You know, there are a lot of things that we hear now. We operate as a subdivision of the state of Ohio. We have our own board of park commissioners. We are not governed by the county commissioner. We have our own board of park commissioners, and that's appointed by the probate judge of Geauga County. Our current probate judge is Judge Tim Gradell. What is our mission? Our mission, and this has recently changed under new board of park commissioners, our mission of Geauga Park District is to preserve, conserve, and protect the natural features of Geauga County, to provide outdoor recreational experiences to our residents of every age, every ability, and at all times of the year. That's our mission. How many parks do we have? We have a lot, and we're quite proud of them. And they're scattered around the county. They're in every township except one, and that is Thompson. We're hopeful that one of these days we will get a county park in Thompson. We have 19 parks that are currently open. Each offers a variety of amenities. One of these, the Maple Highlands Trail, is currently a 12.4-mile linear park that is fully accessible. And we get a lot of bike riders, we get a lot of walkers, a lot of hikers, and we're currently working now on what we call Maple Highlands Trail South. That will go from our Headwaters Park. It will migrate through the village of Middlefield and eventually stop at our Swine Creek Park. So we will eventually have a linear park, per se, a linear trail that will go from the Lake County line just about the Trumbull County line and stop at Swine Creek Park. So that's a great resource. A lot of people use our Maple Highlands Trail. Some quick comparisons, some interesting facts between parks in Northeast Ohio. Cleveland Metro Parks has 22,000 acres. Summit County Metro Parks has 11,000 acres. Lorain County is right around 9,000 acres. We own, lease, and manage approximately 9,500 acres. I say lease and manage because we have some partnerships with the City of Akron at our Headwaters Park, formerly East Branch Reservoir, where we lease a property from them and are able to utilize it for public access as one of our parks. Lake Metro Parks is 8,100 acres, and Stark Parks has about 7,000 acres. So it's been a couple years since this has been updated, but we are, Geauga Park District, right around 9,500 acres. How are we different from other parks in Northeast Ohio? or how are we different from some of your city and municipal parks? We're unique in that a park district of our type has emphasis on land through our mission, preservation, conservation, and protection, while still providing opportunities to enjoy our natural resources, some limited recreational amenities. We're not focused on organized sports, all-out sports facilities per se. We don't have manicured baseball fields or things of that nature, but we do provide a few limited recreational opportunities in our mowed areas. This year we installed some sand volleyball courts. It's a big hit with the Amish down at Swan Creek Park. Some simple little tetherball poles for the kids. And we've done things of that nature without disturbing our habitats. So, you may have seen a piece, 97% of our land is still largely undeveloped. We have areas where we cut grass. We try to give, back to our mission, opportunities for every age, every ability, at all times of the year. So. I'll talk a little bit about the great impacts we have in our communities. Parks enhance the quality of life. They really do. We see a lot of people, they lead a stressful life, and they can go enjoy our parks. They conserve natural resources. All right, water quality is very important. The mature forests, a lot of people now are cutting their timber, cutting their forests. We have mature forests on park land, and those come with a variety of different species, a variety of different plants and animals. We have a dynamic, and it's well known in the state of Ohio, we have a dynamic and a prominent naturalist-led department and programs through our naturalists. And one of the things that's really neat, we try and structure those naturalist-type programs, whether it's biology, or we have a new observatory park up off Clay Street, try and structure those so we are addressing the science standards and some of the standards in our schools. So when school groups come to visit us, and they come from around the county, they come to our parks, we can teach right into the curriculum. So that's one of the things that we're quite proud of, and one of the things that we provide. We're able to meet those Ohio academic content standards. Don't worry, I won't do all 4 pages of this. I will take questions. A little bit more on programs. We offer a variety of programs. We have Geauga walkers. We have programs specific to hikes geared towards seniors. We have programs called Timber Tots, where we teach at all ages and for all abilities. We strive to do that for all residents of Geauga County. So, we're excited about one of our newer parks, Observatory Park, off of Clay Street in Montville Township. That is where you can go and learn about the night skies, learn about astronomy, learn about the different constellations. We have a part-time naturalist that conducts programs there. So that's a new opportunity. I would encourage you to watch our website. For those of you that aren't web savvy, we put out a newsletter once a quarter to every county resident. If you don't receive that, you're welcome to sign up for that, and you can watch our programs of what's going on in Geauga Park District. We're quite proud of our volunteer corps. We have volunteers at different ages. They come, and on average, they volunteer around 8,000 hours of service each year. Many of our volunteers are retired. They come and help with kids programs. They're a mentor, they're a coach to our children at our school programs, so we definitely appreciate our volunteers. Talk a little bit about our trails. Our trails are one of the bigger amenities, one of the more prominent amenities. at Geauga Park District. We're quite proud of our trails. We have a total, and this is a recent figure, we have a total of right around 65 miles of trails. So in Northeast Ohio, that's a good number to have 65 miles of trails. Of that, 45 miles of those are unpaved. Okay, so that might be a stone type surface, it might be a natural surface with just the forest floor. But we have 20 miles of paved trails. And we do our best, particularly in the western side of the county, to have a paved trail. Those are typically accessible, ADA accessible to people with disabilities. We try to, as we put in a new park, have a trail that's ADA accessible and that is paved. We do provide programs, like I said, for every age, every ability at all times of the year. I didn't get time to grab a recent statistic. This is an older one, but I know it hasn't subsided much, and it may have even grown. In 2011, provided 64 programs for senior groups with 1,229 people in attendance. So we're proud to serve all of you. I want to thank you so much for what you do for the county, for what you do for Geauga Park District. We appreciate your support. We are funded through your tax money, your tax levies. You do vote for us, and we sincerely appreciate all the support you give us monetarily and just visiting our parks. That means a lot. So, real quick, and I do have county maps and park guides if anyone would like one to help yourself. Make mention of parks now in every township, every part of the county except for Montville Township. That's what we look like. Made mention of the bike trail that does run. It runs all the way through the county. It starts up here, the Lake County line, and will eventually go to Swanee Creek. So we're quite proud of it. I know that was just a general overview. I will be happy to take questions. Any of you may. Yes, sir.
When the new park commissioners revised the charter and opened it up to just about everything originally, I understand now that that's a revised and some restrictions have been put in, so it's not quite so wide open. I wonder how the charter.
I don't have a copy with me, and our board has been very open and honest about that. They did put together a list of things that may occur in the park as a result of some zoning restrictions that may be applied to us. They have since retracted that. You are correct. It reads much more vague. If there's anything I can't provide here today, I would be happy to. We're subject to public records requests. I would be happy to provide you with a copy.
I have two questions. Are you, as an employee of the Park District, consulted? Like, when one reads things in the paper, and you try to have an open mind, sometimes it's difficult because one has a prejudice one way or the other. But when they talk about reduction of hours, I believe I just recently read that. Are you, as an employee or other employees, consulted in those kinds of decisions? Are they based on statistics, or are they power? And the other question is, I also read about the Sunnybrook trails where there was, and I was upset with that. We use Sunnybrook, it's a darling little park, and I don't need the handicap accessible, but I appreciate that I may someday. So is it really true that accessibility, and why did that happen, and were you consulted?
Sure. Let me speak to your first question. I want to make sure I understand your question about hours. So is that related to building hours?
No, I think I had written one of the, I'm sorry, I didn't bring it because there's been, as you know, there's been a ton of stuff, and I started collecting it. It was just, It had to do with hours and general hours in the park accessible to the public. That there was a reduction in 3 or 4 parks with the hours. And if that
I
doesn't
want to
mean-
be careful. I don't want to speculate. I can
Okay.
tell you that the majority of our parks are open from 6 to 11, and that has not changed. So, yeah.
Maybe it was the nature center.
Okay, some of the nature center hours have changed slightly.
Okay.
We're open from 10 to 4:30. We took a half hour off of our end time at the Westminster Nature Center.
Okay.
And that was simply, to answer your question about, that was staff saying we could make this change and still accomplish.
Okay, because I think that, to me, is so very important, not that the change necessarily took place, but why the change took place, and if you're consulting. So that
Yes.
that answers that, and then the Sunnybrook question.
Yes, the Sunnybrook, a portion, a small portion, and I think it was, I don't want to speculate, but the majority of that trail is still open. It is still paved, it is still ADA accessible. A portion of that was removed because we could have been better neighbors in that situation. That trail literally ran right down the property line, right next to a bedroom, a breakfast nook, right where our neighbors were. And so that's why that trail was removed. And I don't want to stand here and speculate, make allegations about were mistakes made in the past, were they not made in the past. But that is one in particular where we could have developed that property a little bit differently and been sensitive to those particular neighbors in the south.
I know it's for years, it's been a very.
But we were, we were careful. We were careful not to remove all that trail. So the majority of that paved trail is still there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been on that trail and use it moderately also because it is an easy trail to then come around. If I recall, the piece removed was by a driveway. I mean, have you seen where the trail was removed?
I have.
Okay. There's a driveway, a front door, a garage, and all that. There was a number of trees planted to try to buffer the situation. Now, without that segment in there, one would have to walk through the parking lot to go around that path. You try to go around more than once. Is there any thoughts of extending that trail a little bit differently to be a good neighbor and still provide some function there?
That's the first thought I've had. So that's something we could take a look at. I don't know. But that's something we could take a look at.
Yeah, because right now, to complete the loop, you got to go through the parking lot. Where before you went across one road by the entrance road. But at least it's a nice, pleasant park, and it's a shame to see it being detracted.
I like to ride the bike trail, but I'm kind of a wuss, and I like to know that someone is going to be following me or be around. Do you have volunteers that ride that trail often? And do you know when, like less?
I don't. I know that we have a volunteer bike patrol. How often they volunteer, because they are volunteers, but I do not know. You could call in, I could direct you to one of our rangers, and one of our rangers should know. So,
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
you drive out.
I have been on the bike path a lot with my kids, and they're out often. They're out and pretty often. Yeah.
And are they identified? Or you
Yeah.
just know?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
they're, yeah, you know that they are there for that purpose.
Do you have a senior riding a bike club? So I think that would be something nice that maybe we could collaborate on, because I think it's, there's a lot of the parks that I think are underused because seniors don't, or like, I think it would be intimidating for someone, if you're like me, who's a little scared, all the, there's creepy people I mean, so,
Or not only that,
Well,
but if you're
enjoy
out there and
counting
something
their
that should
little
happen.
oh, yes, there are. Yes, there are.
Be brave.
Okay.
To speak to clubs, there are a number of clubs. Hi, Joey. Joey Kecko is with Ohio Horsemen's Council. There are a number of clubs that utilize our parks. We don't cater to clubs per se because we want to serve back to our mission as many people as we can. So what we do is we encourage clubs to use our parks, and then we offer programs to everyone. So, but by all means, there are a number of different clubs that have formed. They utilize our parks. Well, we don't
Keep politics out of it.
Yes.
we don't intentionally discriminate against them. If one club wants to come eat at the parks, then they can come eat at the parks. We encourage them, and we encourage all of them to utilize our shelters because Geauga Park District does not run, other than our ranger department, we don't run a quote-unquote second shift after the hours of 4:30. So we encourage any group to come utilize our parks, whether it's church groups, whether it's the Republicans, the Democrats, whoever wants to come use our parks, they're welcome to reserve and use our park. Yes, sir.
Are there any park commissioners here present?
Are there any park commissioners?
Present here at this gathering?
There are not.
No, okay. I just wonder if there were, if they would introduce themselves. There aren't.
There
Okay,
are.
another question.
Yes.
All right, years ago, I don't know, more than a few, there was property for sale. There was property available, which became the Westwoods Park. All right, developers were after it. There was no money available to buy it. A good citizen by the name of Bill Ginn used his own resources as collateral in order to get a loan to purchase that land from developers. Okay, and then levy was passed, and there was money to buy property. All right, now it seems, I think, that there's been a cut in the assessment for parks, and if that's the case, why has that been done?
Purchasing parks?
Well, for whatever purpose. There's been a cut in funding for the parks, whether it was purchasing land or whatever the money was for.
Okay.
All right?
I didn't understand.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So why has that been done? It seems to me that if you want to curtail a program, you cut the funding. And I think that's an issue here that's involved in this whole brouhaha that's going on right now.
That's what I wanted to ask, because I read in the paper there were 9 million. It's people's money, and you just spread it around, or made it sound like the park commissioners stole the money from the people or used it for themselves. Anyhow, I mean, I grew up in an age where it was safe. When you had something left over, you put it aside, and you had some more left over, and you put it aside. So when an occasion arrives, that you can really use that money to grab, and when they have that money, it's for a good reason, so that when one of these properties come up somewhere, instead of a developer snapping it up with his huge resources, they can take the money and say, hey, we preserve. I want it pristine the way it is. And we mentioned before, they're developing stuff that everybody has access. A park is not there for games and whatever, and for recreation vehicles. It is there for tranquility and preserve nature. See, this is my philosophy. We can't interfere everywhere. And so leave it alone. Cultivate small paths that people can use.
But because someone else has a different opinion than you, they're not allowed to have an opinion?
No, they can have an opinion, but you don't have to dictate
I'm just
philosophy.
saying, we're not gonna argue opinions because that's people, everybody has.
That's right, Sandy. But no, I just mean by interfering in the natural process of things. I mean, I wrote the letter to the paper, it's in today's thing.
Well, written.
And yesterday.
Okay, I had a question there.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Thank you. Let me go back
Yes.
to your question. And thank you for your comments. Thank you.
They were good comments.
Yes, they were.
Very good.
Thank you. So your question, we every year go before the Geauga County Budget Commission. The Geauga County Budget Commission is made up of the prosecutor, the auditor, and the treasurer. At that time, and other public entities in the county have to do this, we have to speak for our project. How are we going to spend how are we going to spend our money? Are we going to use it for land acquisition? Are we going to use it for capital improvement projects? In other words, building parks. This year, as the Budget Commission has done in the past, they questioned how we were going to spend our money. We showed them some potential projects. We didn't have anything firm for 2015, and therefore they withheld some of the money to give some of the money back to the taxpayers. So that's what they did. It was $880,000. I'm not recalling exactly how much carryover in revenue we will have for next year, but we have plenty of money. If a land acquisition comes up, we can look at land acquisition. We continue to negotiate and look at different pieces of property around the county. That's a long-winded answer to say we are fiscally sound. We are fiscally sound. And the Budget Commission, as you probably read, the Budget Commission has the right to do that. If we can't say where we are going to dedicate our money for 2015. So.
Well, it sounds like maybe somebody needs some ideas other than the people who are there who probably don't have any on how to spend money.
I'm glad you bring that up. One of the things to keep in mind, folks, and we want to make sure that we don't take this to a point of politics. Okay?
Well, I said that point already.
Yeah, I can answer what I can answer. Okay, is we want to make sure that we are fiscally responsible and responsible to the majority of this county. So one of the things we're going to do, we do this every 10 years. We want to hear from as many of the people in this county as we possibly can. We're going to start a strategic plan. We've done them for 10 years. We're getting ready to move into another one. We will do surveys. We will have town hall meetings. We want to hear from the public. So similar to your point, one person has an opinion. We need some projects. We need some ideas. But someone else might say, Geauga Parks have enough land. I don't know. I don't know. But we need to hear from people every 10 years as part of that strategic planning process, get their input, and then develop a strategic plan. So, okay.
Can you talk to some of the projects that have planned for the next year?
Sure, I can. In 2015, we have 2 projects planned. We have a camping area at our Headwaters Park in Clarendon, Huntsburg area. We'll be going back there and we'll be finishing some primitive camping. We'll be doing some remodeling on what we used to call the Akron Boathouse. We'll be remodeling that, making that more publicly accessible. Slated for some trail improvements. A playground is slated for that park. So a lot of these things are in the conceptual phase. We'll be moving them on to the next phase of our plan process to design those elements. The other is we've got some improvements planned for our Furring Meadows Park, which is out in Bainbridge Township. Fixing our trails out there, improving the shelter out there. We're looking at the possibility of enclosing that shelter, playground slated for out there, a small mini shelter. So we're largely doing things that we've always done. Shelters. We are starting to provide playgrounds, much like we did here at Orchard Hills. That was one of the things that we heard in the last strategic planning process and the last public input process is we would like to have some playgrounds for our families, for our children. So that is one change that we're starting to have.
We did a very good job of timing.
Would you please raise your hand and be called upon so that everyone could have a chance? Thank you very much.
I don't think she saw it, Joel. Yes, sir. What's your question?
You called on me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Since the park commissioners canceled the last meeting, the board meeting, I'm wondering how the vouchers are getting paid so that all the funding is going on, since Mr. Mucci addressed the problem that all the vouchers needed to come across the park board's table now so that they could be approved. How is this progressing?
Well, ultimately, we're responsible to the Ohio Revised Code. So there are certain threshold levels that are set at my level that I can't approve, and we can continue to develop business.
So in other words, you're covering payroll and things like that,
Yes.
okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, the mission statement says that we're protecting our natural resources. That's part of the reason for creating the parks. I would like to know what is the status of the ATVs being allowed in the parks?
There are no current plans allowing ATVs on our park. Once again, if our Board of Park Commissioners chooses to allow ATVs, horses, hikers, anything of that nature, that would be a decision at their level. But there are no plans at this time to allow ATVs in the parks.
I would not associate horseback riding or hiking in the parks on the same level as ATVs. We know what happens with those. Those are your dirt bikes.
Yeah, and thank you for that comment. We're hearing that, and thank you for that comment and that opinion. All right, I don't know how long
We have till 11:45.
okay. Yes, sir.
Who's that
The
woman?
parks are accessible to everyone, of every ability, all year round. Why having to change this and make it sound like that's something new that the new commissioners want to do when that already exists?
Well, I'll go back to the example I just gave a little bit ago. We say that, but are they really? For something as simple as playgrounds, for example. In our mode areas, we did not disturb habitat. I'll speak for myself. My philosophy is that we need to hear from all user groups. And that is a clear example of a small amenity that we could put in to better cater to families with young children is playgrounds. So you're right, anyone can show up and use our parks at any time. But does everyone like to hike? Does everyone like to sit and picnic? Does everyone like to grill? So there's some simple amenities that can be added to better cater to the people of this county.
Park has had playgrounds. At Big Creek, and I think Rookery, maybe somewhere else. This is not something new, you're just putting them everywhere. And I don't think you necessarily need a playground in every park. You don't need a soccer field in every park, you know. I just think
Thank you for that.
park's
You're
accessible to everyone. You may not be able to go to the park next door to do it, but you can go to the one 3 miles away, and there's your playground or your different trail or your bike path or whatever you want.
And thank you. You're definitely entitled to your opinion. Thank you. And this isn't about me, but I hear this from other people, and I'll just use myself as an example. As a father of 2 young boys, to speak to the playgrounds, and we show up, say, at Swine Creek, and they're like, Dad, that's not a playground. So I hear what you're saying, but we need to make sure that we're serving all ages, all abilities, at all times of the year. We've done different things in the past 5 years. We groom our trails for cross-country skiing. We never used to do that. We have people now that drive up from Geauga County Ski Club, people that have come out from all over Geauga County that love to cross-country ski, but weren't able to do it as well as they may have been able to do it because our trail grew. So we started grooming trails probably about 3 or 4 years ago. So this is what I speak of. There are plenty of opportunities for our parks to be used by all. Go over to, yes, Jim.
Excuse me. Yeah, John, I just had some comments. You said no disturbing habitat. You know, there was a real nice meadow where they tag monarch butterflies over in Swine Creek. And, I think many of us here probably know monarch butterflies are are in real serious trouble. They're either threatened or endangered. Foraging areas for them have been disappearing, milkweed that they depend upon. Yet the park mowed that and put a baseball field in there. Did anyone talk to the park biologists or the park naturalists and ask them what they thought of doing that? Same thing with over at Best Lake, there was a very nice meadow that the camera club requested not be mowed because there was so outstanding photography there, a lot of diversity of plants. It was a critical area for nesting birds. Many of the field nesting birds are in trouble in Ohio because of their nesting. I think we need habitat more than we need more ball fields.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
many of the township parks, that's all they are. There are lots of township parks. All they are is recreation parks. They are very, for the most part. Thompson Ledge is an exception, but most of them are just, I know in Parkland where I live, just athletic fields. They have horseshoes and baseball. They have several baseball fields.
Let me address your
I have other things if
question.
there are more time. We got another
Well, we
hour.
want John. Yeah. I know that, John, and perhaps we could talk afterwards. We hear from you a lot, with all fairness to everyone else. In regards to the area that was mowed at Swine Creek, there was an area, I don't know the acreage, I would suspect it's somewhere between 3 and 5 acres, mowed at Swine Creek, to give the Amish a baseball, softball backstop. We don't install groomed baseball, softball fields because we don't have the staff to maintain them, to give them an area to play softball. Amish like to do that. We heard from the Amish community. Back to my comment about trying to do something a little bit for everyone. And John, to say that there are these absolutes in habitat preservation, yes, we did consult with Natural Resource Management, with the naturalists. I understand your point about the monarchs. There is plenty of habitat for monarchs, but it goes back to my point of we feel we could do a better job of providing a few basic amenities without disturbing the majority of habitat. We are not for other segments of this population, particularly families and particularly children. So, and anyone else? Yes,
It is just about that time,
Okay.
so maybe one quick question and then.
yes.
Is there a search ongoing for
There is not a current search.
your acting director?
I am the interim director.
Another question, why do you dismiss the entire building?
Why did we dismiss the entire? We did go
They
through.
were good people.
Yes. We did go through a reorganization, reduction in workforce. I would be happy to provide you with a case statement that speaks to that. There were many redundancies. We changed. We changed after a number of years under one administrative, one executive director. And we changed and we took a look at the way we did business. So I'd be happy to provide that case statement for you. I mean, in fact, it's probably been published.
I have one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know I haven't turned before. Is there a coordination of playground areas, like when the park says we need to have this, because we're serving everybody? Do you have a map that says, well, this is a playground area, and this is a playground area, and this is a playground area? And we are right accessible to those playground areas. So what would be the point? So is there a study made? And I am real concerned about this survey. We've heard surveys for months and months and months before all this political stuff, and we still don't have a survey. It will be interesting if one can, I hope that is one serious thing that somebody really considers the questions they're going to ask.
I'll be happy to provide you with a timeline. I don't have a list. I'll be happy to provide it for you.
And that other thing really bothers me about, I understand having something for children, but I also understand there's a ton of stuff all around here that apply to children. And it may not be specifically at this point, but.
One point I would like to make, and I'm going to close with this. I'll be happy to talk with you one-on-one. That way we stick to the time allotted. Is back to when this organization, I'll just call it organization for the sake of my point, was founded. We were founded as Geauga Park District. There are a number of other organizations, entities out there. For example, the Nature Conservancy, Western Reserve Land Conservancy, they have a different type of mission. While preservation, while conservation, while protection is a big part of our mission, we are Geauga Park District. And if we truly look at how a park is defined, that there are a number of different ways that a park can be defined. It's not, we're not defined as a sanctuary, we're not defined as a preserve. And I understand your point, but I would argue that we are a park, and we are responsible to everyone in this county as a park system. So I will close with that. Thank you so much for your time. I have park map.
And we have
Folks.
flyers.
Folks,
Thank you all for coming, and I need everyone to sign in on the sign-in sheet. We are going to hold the flyers because this is a Park District program. We would welcome any flyers that the Park District has brought. If you would like to provide me with one,
I would like one also.
I'll tell you what, I'll be standing outside. If any of you would like the real story, here it is.
I would.
Yeah.
And our
Inside.
website is on here where you can get additional information, and I'll be glad to answer questions outside.
I am sorry, but I can't allow that to be passed out at the senior center, so.
Show me a rule that says that can't be done. Show me a rule.
You're not supposed to hand them, but I'll steal.